It's that time of year again, Expo Week, and this year we headed to Chicago to check out what's new and exciting in the world of specialty coffee. And I wasn't doing it alone, I was tackling Expo this year with two legends in their own right, Jerney and Xris. Once we arrived in Chicago, we quickly checked into our Airbnb in Chinatown, then headed to Expo to pick up our passes and start exploring the event hall, where we immediately encountered a wild Jimmy the barista doing push-ups on the Expo floor. First on the hit list was Varia with their newly announced VS6 grinder, which is apparently targeting the commercial market, but you know people are going to be wanting to use it in their homes. What's new is variable RPM, a very clever way of switching between a conical 58 and a flat 58mm burr set. Also, built-in anti-static, a clever knocker in the spout that can also be removed to act as a portafilter holder or potentially other accessories in the future. Overall, a pretty nice update to the now miniature-looking VS3, but let me know what you guys think. Also at the Varia booth was this neat-looking flat-bottom dripper with interchangeable flow profiles. I think you'd have to be pretty deep in the weeds to really be tasting the differences between the 6 or 7 options that they offered, but overall it's just a cool-looking system and a neat concept. As I was about to walk away, I also spotted this great-looking new espresso scale. It looks much like the existing Varia scales, but in a smaller form factor. You don't need a heat mat because of the material it's made of. It is nice and light, charges by USB-C. It seems like a total Akaya killer. I cannot wait to give this a try when it's finally released.
All right, so we are here with probably one of the most exciting products of the show this year. We are here with the man himself, Nick from Fellow. This is his newest baby, your first Fellow product all the way from the ground up, the Eden Brewer. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I think the biggest innovations that we have here are number one, our to the degree temperature control is absolutely unparalleled. I have never seen a brewer that can control temperature and flow rate the way that we can control temperature and flow rate. So it's basically like all of the technology and things that we're known for with Stag temperature control, but in a brewer. And this is the second big thing, is that this is not only a batch brewer. This brewer can truly do 1 cup to 10 cups, and that's also something that I've never seen before on the market. So we really tried to make sure that we could do batches and single serve.
So this is a really big deal, because when I talk about batch brewers, often the biggest comment is, I normally make 1 or 2 cups, and I sometimes have people over. So this is done in a really cool way. There's actually 2 cones that come with this, and more importantly, 2 dispersion settings on the screen. So if we open this up here, we can see right now we have a big flat brewer installed. And if we just pull this out, and we can swap it in now with a single serve conical. And then what you're going to see on the top of the lid here is the actual dispersion screen. We can switch from a batch brew and then go to single, and that's going to reroute the water so that it's brewing optimally for those smaller batches. So it really is kind of attempting to be a no sacrifice system, which is really neat because you're not always brewing for a large group of people. Other interesting details that I noticed here, we have the new screen from the newest Stag line, beautiful, colorful, and the thing that I noticed a lot on it is that's very intuitive. Nick didn't give me any tutorial on this yesterday when I first looked at it, and just going through, there's an instant brew setting, there's a guided brew, which gives you a little bit more selection, but it still walks you through the process. So if you're choosing maybe a medium roast, you select your brew size, you insert the batch basket because we don't have the right one in. But if you want to go back, you just scroll all the way to the left. It's very intuitive to go through. And then of course you can get completely custom in the profile section. And then a few other settings like scheduling and deep settings in there.
I think, just from a coffee nerd standpoint, when people think about single serve at home, there are other brewers in the market that try to do single serve at home, and what we found is that most of the time if you take a lightly roasted coffee and try and do that, your extraction yields are like 17 or 18%. So we spent 6 full months just developing the single serve basket, single serve shower head, single serve pulse control to be able to take really lightly roasted coffees to beyond 22% extraction yield. And I'm talking about coffees from Say, coffees from Coffee Collective, Wendelbo, La Cabra, the stuff that I like to drink. So this brewer, I believe, truly has it all, from the ultra nerd like me to somebody's mom who just wants to smash a button and make great coffee in the morning.
There you go, from the coffee nerd to somebody's mom, the Fellow Eden, a very exciting new brewer.
Another topic that was readily available at Expo this year was robots. Onyx had one brewing at their booth, but what was really cool was this system by Wingman that was fully operating a 2-group mod bar setup all on its own. It might seem a little flashy and gimmicky, but the whole idea is that this is meant to help in high volume cafes. It can fully fulfill orders from button push to delivery. So when you think about it in that context, it's kind of a cool idea. We also stopped by Jerney very briefly, and boy am I glad I did. No photo or video can ever portray the quality these guys are putting into these grinders. They are so solid and so well aligned. I really hope that I can get one into the studio just to try my best to convey that to you guys. Fingers crossed. We then spent the afternoon trying to cover as much ground as possible, meeting new people and scoping out some products to feature in the second half of this video. After a hectic first day at Expo, we then headed out to find some quick food at Time Out Market before meeting up with some new friends, James from Niche, Drago, and Sam, to experience some out-of-this-world cocktails at Aviary. The drinks were great, and we got an obligatory Jerney pour from the man himself. We also found it hilarious that the only British fellow at the table happened to have his drinks served in a tea set. After that, we headed to Dayglow to watch a brewing contest hosted by Weber Workshops on their new Bird Brewer, with the winner getting to take one home. And just like that, our first day in Chicago came to a close, but we were up early the next day to hit some cafes before heading back into Expo for a full day of filming. We started off day 2 with a trip to Dark Matter, which is definitely an interesting aesthetic to begin your day with, and then we were just a short walk away from Metric Coffee. I really enjoyed this cafe. It had a really neat setup where you could see the roasters from the store front, and it also had a great outdoor seating area. Our last stop of the day was at Drip Collective, who were brewing up some fantastic coffees and just overall good vibes in this super sunny space, and not to mention this really beautiful 3-group transparent speedster. And just like that, it was time to head back to Expo and check out some more products. Technically not a new product anymore, but one that I'm still very excited about is the Meticulous, shown here sporting every single accessory under the sun. It's pretty cool how the back panel is magnetic, so you can just kind of stick shot mirrors or cooling balls wherever you feel like it. I still absolutely believe that this is a very promising machine, and I really hope they can start shipping soon. In my host video, I complimented their software and how smooth and polished it looked, and it has only gotten better since then. On the opposite end of the excitement spectrum, at least for me personally, was the new Akaya Astra separate display. I didn't really understand the concept behind this. It just kind of seems like a Haroya Jimmy knockoff, and you know it's going to be coming in at an astronomical price point. So the demo really wasn't fully working. Maybe I'm missing part of the genius, but for me personally, a bit of a miss.
All right, we are here with the brand new machine from Breville, which is the new Oracle Jet. The name might be a little bit misleading because it's kind of a continuation of the Oracle, kind of a continuation of the Touch Impress. What is new on this machine? First up, we have a really nice looking display, so very high definition. The background is now black. It seems a lot smoother, a lot better refresh rate. Something people often noticed in the Touch videos is the refresh rate on these screens is kind of low and jumpy sometimes. This one is way nicer. Obviously under the hood, some big differences. It is now using the Thermojet, which is new for the Oracle. But what that means is that this is no longer a dual boiler machine. You have to brew and then you have to steam. So this is really what I consider to be a continuation of the Touch Impress in that it is doing away with the lever and it is now fully prepping as well. And what we're seeing for the first time is their new Milk IQ system on an Oracle steam arm. So the temperature is in the tip, which is kind of the best form factor. So probably the best way to show this is just making a coffee. So let's try to run a latte. So if I hit latte here, and we're going to start grinding. And there we go. Another big change is that they have now integrated a Baratza grinder into this machine. So it's no longer the older Breville ones. They're finally utilizing that new partnership with Baratza.
So the main difference is the heating system because we're putting a Thermojet in here. It means that
Go. The nice loud ding there to let me know that we're done. We have our prepped puck. We can lock that straight in. And hopefully this is nice and dialed in for me.
So we have a Thermojet. That's what it feels like. The water comes in, water comes out.
There we go. Looks nicely dialed in. So obviously on the original Oracle, we could be steaming right now. On this one, we've got to wait a bit. And we're going to put this in and start steaming. So like I said, this has the new Milk IQ system, so it's actually giving us a bit better texture than we even saw on the original Oracle. I was really impressed with this on the Touch Impress, and this is the exact same system, but it no longer has the temperature sensor in the base. It is now in the tip of the steam arm.
What we updated differently on this is that I can actually now customize the default center.
So here we go, that's wrapping up. Beautiful. Okay, pull that out. Give ourselves a wipe. And of course the same auto purge. All right, I've already got a shot of this, but let's see what I can do. It looks a little thicker. Not quite as good, but not half bad for a Breville Oracle. So there we have it, the new Oracle Jet. New screen, new grinder, new steam arm, and integrating, of course, the Oracle automatic tamping. What do you guys think of this newest model?
Another product that isn't technically new, but I got my first hands-on with it, is the Boss Tamper. These things are looking really nice nowadays. They wirelessly charge, they aren't 3D printed anymore, and it's just a simple, great product. You can set the tamping depth you want, you can place it on the portafilter with a single hand, and you have a perfect tamp seconds later. If you have any kind of ergonomic issues or you want to use it in a commercial setting, this is a pretty compelling system. Moving on to one of the most exciting products of the show, we have the XBloom Studio. This was teased on April Fool's Day, but luckily it's actually a real product because there's a lot of good advancements here. It is starting to get geared a little bit more towards the enthusiast, while still also serving the beginner, pod-oriented RFID market that they were originally targeting. It now has a built-in scale in the base that can be used independently. It now has an independent pouring mode where you can use it just like a kettle and switch between temperatures, pouring styles, flow rates, whatever you could possibly want. And then you can use the grinder separately as well. So essentially you can get as much or as little automation from the XBloom now as you want. If you have your own grinder on the side, you can fully skip the grinding steps. If you want to set your own recipes, you can do that. If you want to use your own coffee, it has a scale. It has everything you could possibly need to just have more of an automated pour over setup and not all of the hand holding of the original XBloom. Also, something that was really cool to see is now the app is showing all these flow characteristics and flow into your cup because of that scale in the base. I have used this, it is now in the studio. I'm really excited to share the full review with you guys, but it is a far more polished product than the original, and I think it's a step in the right direction for XBloom. After a hectic day at Expo, we met up with Kyle and Natasha, who had just finished brewing with September at the Fellow booth, and we all headed downtown for one final night of fun, courtesy of La Marzocco and their Sprorassic Park event. This was an absolutely insane party. They had all the movies playing on the screens and everybody was there. So it was a good opportunity to try to meet up with a few people that we might have missed at Expo. And that just about wraps up our coverage of the 2024 SCA Expo. There weren't a whole lot of new product announcements, but out of the ones we did see, I'm curious to hear which were your favorites and why. As always, the best part of Expo is always just meeting new people, so a big thank you to everyone who came up to say hello, and to those who I did not end up bumping into. I look forward to meeting you all next year in Houston. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.